It is always a shock and a tragedy to hear about the life of a child being taken by the evil-minded people that roam amongst us. But when it turns out that those people are youngsters themselves, it becomes even more tragic. The chilling case of Elizabetholten and Alyssa Bustamante is no exception. In today's video, we will be discussing the case of 9-year-old Elizabetholten and the evil teenager responsible for her short-lived life. It was October 21st, 2009 at 5 p.m. when 9-year-old Elizabetholten asked her mother Patty if she could play with her friend Emma, who came knocking at the Oltens' door. At first, Patty would not let her daughter go out and play, but when both Emma and Elizabeth begged, she gave in. Patty told her 9-year-old daughter to come back by 6 p.m. Little did she know that this would be the last time she would see her little girl. When the clock struck 6 p.m. and Elizabeth hadn't returned home, her mother got the feeling something was wrong. Elizabeth had been afraid of the dark and would always come back home before then. Patty called Emma's home and her grandmother Karen picked up the phone. Patty asked Emma's grandmother if her little girl was at the Bustamantes, but she said that Elizabeth never came over to her place that day. Scared and confused, Patty Priest called 911 and reported her daughter missing. The police were on the scene in less than 15 minutes. Other police departments and the fire department were also called, and by 10 p.m., hundreds of people were searching for little Elizabetholten. Patty told the police that Elizabeth had a cell phone and tried to call it the entire night, but it went directly to voicemail. About 24 hours after Elizabeth was reported missing, the police ordered the cell phone provider to send out an emergency ping to locate Elizabeth's cell phone. There were 3 pings, all of which showed signs that Elizabeth's phone was somewhere in the deep, dark woods behind Emma's house. This raised even more concern for Elizabeth's mother, as the little girl was terrified of the dark. What could her cell phone be doing in the deep, dark woods? The police called in more help, and soon, human remains detection dogs, helicopters, and dive teams were on the scene. The nearby ponds and rivers were all searched, but nothing was found. The last person to see Elizabeth was 6-year-old Emma, so the police questioned her. Little Emma told the police her story, but it wasn't consistent for some reason. It could be that her innocence led her to change the story when police looked like they weren't buying it. First, she told the police that she and Elizabeth had played for an hour before she went home, before changing her story, telling the police that she and Elizabeth had been in the woods when Elizabeth stepped on a thorn that really hurt her. She was in a lot of pain, so Emma called her older sister Alyssa to help. Alyssa Bustamante was Emma's 15-year-old half-sister. The 2 sisters also had 2 brothers, and the siblings all lived with their grandmother, Karen Brooke. The Bustamante children and the Olten children were good friends and about the same age. The police decided to interrogate her, since her little sister had reported that Alyssa had actually been the last person to see Elizabeth. In her interrogation with an FBI agent, Alyssa told them that she had skipped school on October 21st, but did not know where Elizabeth was. She had a calm and relaxed attitude that made her unsuspicious to the police. Meanwhile, the police continued the search and came across something that left them extremely disturbed. A hole in the shape of a grave, perfect to fit a 9-year-old's remains. The hole was empty but still raised suspicion amongst the police. Alyssa Bustamante, being the last person to see Elizabeth, was taken to the area in the woods where the hole was found and asked about it. Her response was chilling and disturbing. Alyssa admitted to having dug the hole, and when asked why she had done so, said that she would bury dead animals she found and dug graves for them.
She dug the hole. I just like digging holes and would bury dead animals when she found them.
She said she did this for fun, and an unsuspecting teenager very quickly turned into a potential suspect. Karen Brooke was asked if Bustamante's residence could be searched, particularly Alyssa's room. When the police entered her room, it was a spine-chilling sight. The bedroom walls had strange drawings, some in pen and others in blood. There was a poem about self-harm on the walls saying, "I cut to see blood because I like it." Even more disturbing was the drawing of a girl with cuts on her head and arms and a name next to it, Emma. Yes, the 15-year-old girl showed signs of frequent self-harm as well as an intent to harm her siblings. Her friends from school knew about her being suicidal and depressed and that she was taking antidepressant medications. The investigators also found letters taped to Alyssa's wall addressed to her by her dad. It was found that Alyssa's dad was in prison because he had gotten into a physical altercation and that her mother was addicted to narcotics. A journal was found in Alyssa's bedroom, and what was found within it would solve the case that had involved hundreds of volunteers all over St. Martin's, Missouri. The journal found in Alyssa's bedroom left the investigators very disturbed, as she has mentioned thinking of burning down a house and everyone in it. But the journal entry made on October 21, 2009, the day Elizabetholten disappeared, is what caught their eye. The entry consisted of scratched out writing, but the FBI agent was determined to discover what it said. Using blacklight, 2 words could be made out: slit and throat. And the end of the entry that was left unscratched said, "Now I've got to go to church, LOL." With incriminating evidence, the FBI agents called Alyssa and her grandmother in for an interrogation. The interrogation was expertly carried out and strategized so that Alyssa would crack under the pressure. Slowly, Alyssa showed clear signs of worry and stress. Her eyes started to water and her head began to shake. Just when the agent felt like she would break, he told her he had read the scratched out portion of her journal entry. It was at this point that Alyssa began to open up about what really happened to little Elizabeth. At first she lied, saying Elizabeth was walking and suddenly tripped in the woods, which led to her death.
Just touching her, she fell. She died. I didn't know what to do.
When the agent said the autopsy clearly showed that she was lying, Alyssa decided it was best to come clean when the officer asked her a chilling question. Was her throat cut? Alyssa said yes, and her shocked grandmother began to cry.
Oh my God.
After her grandmother left the room, Alyssa Bustamante admitted to committing the execution of Elizabetholten. Alyssa said that at 5 p.m. she had sent her sister Emma to ask Elizabeth to play with her. When Emma brought Elizabeth to her house, Alyssa told her little sister to go inside and took the 9-year-old's hand, leading her into the woods. She told Elizabeth that she had something to show her and took her on a 15-minute walk into the dark woods to the place where she had dug a grave. Armed with a weapon, upon reaching the side of the grave, Alyssa began suffocating Elizabeth. She then went on to inflict numerous wounds to her body and neck. After this horrifying confession, the agent asked Alyssa to guide him to the exact location of Elizabeth's remains. She knew exactly where it was, and upon close inspection, the agent could see body parts sticking out of the mud. What a truly horrifying sight that must have been. The investigators used a blacklight and finally uncovered Alyssa's final journal entry, and what they found was bone-chilling. The diary entry said, "I just took someone's life. I don't know how to feel ATM. It was amazing. As soon as you get over the, oh my God, I can't do this feeling, it's pretty enjoyable. I'm kinda nervous and shaky though right now. Okay, I gotta go to church now, LOL." The evil within this journal entry is astonishing and inhumane. But it was this journal entry that solved the mystery of what happened to little Elizabeth, who disappeared so mysteriously. Alyssa Bustamante was arrested and charged with first-degree execution. Alyssa's defense said Alyssa should get a lighter sentence because at the time, she suffered from severe mental health issues and that her medication resulted in her acting on her impulses. But the happenings of Elizabetholten were clearly planned by Alyssa, who, as the prosecution claimed, simply wanted to know what it felt like to take a life. Alyssa was sentenced to life in prison plus 30 years for armed criminal action. She was given the possibility of parole after 35 years and 5 months. She was denied appeal in 2014. What are your thoughts on this disturbing case?